My friends, Teresa Lysam here. Welcome. We are going to work through the feelings of powerlessness, feeling defeated, feeling stuck, maybe feeling like a victim or lack a victim mentality. And we're going to use the essential oil ginger. This is the essential emotions release freedom process. And it's powerful and it's doable for anybody. And it works even if I screw it up, which I won't. So I do want to remind you that smell is the fastest way to affect your mood, as those essential oil molecules have a direct route up to our amygdala, our limbic center of our brain where emotions and memories are stored. And then a chemical reaction can occur within 60 to 90 seconds that's going to cascade throughout our entire body. That is the really, really short version. The non-medical, technical, non-sciencey version. So the essential oil molecules can interrupt old emotional response patterns and then prompt the creation of new neural pathways to help retrain the brain to respond in healthier ways. Isn't that cool? So let's go see what this is all about. I said we're going to be using the oil ginger. If you don't have ginger, then some other oils you might want to try would be cassia, fennel, blue tansy, motivate, passion, spearmint, turmeric, or laurel leaf. That have none of those, just any essential oil will do as a substitute for right now. And if you absolutely have no essential oils whatsoever, you're going to use your imagination and you're going to call in the frequency of ginger and the vibration of ginger, and it's still going to work. So let's get started here. I just want you to know that I am not a mental health professional. I'm not a fixer. I'm merely a partner and a guide on your journey to reclaiming your wholeness and your emotional freedom. I'm holding space with loving kindness and compassion as you move through this process. So things may come up, just so you know that in advance, and that's okay. Have compassion for yourself. You're here to release unwanted emotions so you can access the answers and solutions within you. And it's a privilege to do this work. So don't be afraid. It's very gentle. And just know that you're safe. So we're going to be working on releasing the emotion of defeat, feeling defeated, which could happen for many reasons. And we're going to use ginger to accelerate the process. So I'm going to read you from the emotional benefit description of ginger. And ginger is actually the oil of empowerment. Love that. So if you have some paper handy, jot down whatever resonates with you from this description, whether it be a word or a phrase or a concept. Ginger holds no reservations. It can powerfully persuade us to be fully present and participate in life. It teaches us to be successful in life. To be successful in life, we have to wholly commit to it. Ginger can address the deep patterns of victim mentality, which, of course, powerlessness comes from that, believing that everything is outside our control, and possibly refusing to take responsibility for our lives, or blaming life circumstances or other people or outside influences for whatever is happening to us. And someone might feel stuck and they might disown their responsibility of their choices and blame others for their misfortune. But Ginger empowers us to take complete responsibility for our life circumstances. It infuses a warrior-like mentality based on integrity, personal responsibility, and individual choice. So we can see ourselves as creators of our own lives, no longer waiting for outside circumstances to change. We can choose our own destiny. Ooh, it's so empowering just saying those words. Ginger, the oil of empowerment. So reading that and seeing what resonates with us often is illuminating unconscious or ignored issues that we might not want to address or we have buried. So things may have come up during that reading of that description. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you're welcome to jot them down. If you have, if you don't have paper, you just want to keep it in your head, that's fine too. What did not go as planned? What did not go as planned? And what will it take for me to move forward from this experience, whatever that experience is? What will it take for me to recognize that that experience does not define me as a person? So whatever experience comes up for you, how can you move forward from that? And what will it take for you to recognize that that experience does not define you? How cool is that? So I am going to invite you to close your eyes and imagine that feeling of defeated or powerlessness, you choose. And I want you to scan your body and just notice if you can feel it anywhere in your body. Can you locate where that emotion of being defeated is being held in your body? Does it have a weight to it? Does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? Does it have a color? Does it have a texture to it? It might even have a sound. Is it well defined? Is it solid? Or is it wispy or fuzzy? Just notice it. And if you don't notice anything, that's okay too. Now I'm going to invite you to see yourself expending the energy it takes to maintain and hold on to that emotion. Because it does take energy. We might not consciously realize that it does, but every emotion that we've buried, every emotion that we've experienced, I'm talking negative, is somewhere in our body or in our energy field. And it takes energy to hold on to it. And I'm going to ask you, are you ready to let that go? You ready to let that emotion of defeat, powerlessness? Are you ready to let it go? So I'm going to ask you to repeat after me out loud or in your head. I can't hear you, so you decide. And I'll read it slow and I'll repeat it. I choose to release this feeling of defeat with all of its negative attachments and hold on me. So I choose to release this feeling of defeat with all of its negative attachments and hold on me. I now hand it over to the divine for transformation and healing. I now hand it over to the divine for transformation and healing. Now have your ginger oil close by. It's almost time to use it. I am going to invite you to close your eyes if you have not already, and see yourself releasing this feeling of defeat or powerlessness. Visualize it floating out of you higher and higher, taking all of its attachments with it. Feel yourself becoming lighter and lighter and more free as it leaves your mind, your body, and your spirit. See it completely taken away and dissolved by the divine. Now take your ginger oil. You can either just smell it out of the bottle or put it, well, I would smell it out of the bottle if I were you. I was going to suggest putting it in your hands, but ginger can be irritating to some people. So just smell it out of your bottle. 3 deep cleansing breaths, really deep from the belly. Excuse me. And then at the top of the inhale, just hold it for a split second and then exhale it from the belly. Really get it out of your lungs. Do that 3 times. Just take that ginger oil in deeply into your lungs, into your energy field, into your body. We're using that oil and that breath to rid ourselves of that defeat. How do you feel? You can jot it down just in your head. Think about how you're feeling after we just released, with the help of ginger, that emotion of defeat or powerlessness, whatever you chose. And I'm going to ask you another question. Are you ready for a new experience now? Okay. Keep your ginger oil nearby. We're going to use it again. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again. And I'm going to give you some affirmations or declarations, whichever word you choose to use for them. And again, I'll go slow and I'll repeat them. I can now accept that all things work out for my greatest good. I can now accept that all things work out for my greatest good. I can now trust that this event will help me on my path. I can now trust that this event will help me on my path. And then breathe in that oil. Take your oil again and be breathing it in nice and deep. That's going to anchor in those affirmations. And now I'm going to walk you through a visualization. So breathe nice deep breaths with that ginger. I'm going to repeat those affirmations one more time. I can now accept that all things work out for my greatest good. I can now trust that this event will help me on my path. And see yourself release your grasp on ropes that you're holding on to, giving them over to your higher power and opening yourself to move forward on life's path. See yourself release your grip, your grasp on ropes you're holding on to. Give them over to your higher power and open yourself to move forward on life's path. And really breathe in that ginger and anchor that new way of thinking into your brain. Ooh, I love that. You're breathing in the oil of empowerment. And how do you feel? Notice how you feel. If you want to jot it down on your paper, jot it down. And that was it. That was the release and the anchoring in process using ginger. I'm going to ask you a few more questions. We're not quite done yet, but we're going to wrap it up here in another couple of minutes. So just enjoy your new feeling that you're basking in right now. And I'm going to ask you, can you offer yourself compassion right at this moment? Maybe self-forgiveness, and maybe some understanding for what you just learned through this experience. And I hope the answer is yes, but it might not be. And you may only have released a little bit of feeling defeated or powerless. That's okay. It's a start. But please offer yourself compassion, self-forgiveness, and understanding for what might have just been revealed to you or a new insight you just got. Now, how can you offer yourself some self-care and nurturing after this we're done here? Self-care is a real important piece to this process. So I'm going to invite you to really take care of yourself and nurture yourself between now and when you go to bed, and maybe even into tomorrow. And I'm going to give you some suggestions. A couple of them I really want you to do, and the other ones are your choice. And you might want to jot this down too, just to remind you. So I do want you to hydrate, so drink some extra water. I do want you to move. So moving, stretching, any kind of movement is going to help integrate everything that we just did, because we did some shifting around energetically. So hydrate, move, your choice of movement. You might get outside and walk. You might do some yoga if you're a yoga enthusiast. You might want to dance to your favorite song, or with your dog or whoever, whatever. You might want to, after you do your movement, you might want to meditate, pray, do some journaling. You might want to rest. You might want to take a nap. You might want to take a bath later with some Epsom salts. You could try putting a drop or two of the ginger into the Epsom salts into your bath water, but I would tread lightly there. I don't even know if I would do that, because again, ginger can be irritating. So maybe just have it, it's your bathtub side, so you can smell it while you're taking a bath. I would feel more comfortable with that. So self-care is important. And yes, your transformation in this breakthrough, this process, this healing process will continue from this point forward into the future. I can't tell you a time frame, but it will continue into the future. We just got it started. You might get some added insights. You might experience some other emotions surfacing in the days ahead, and that's normal. That's to be expected. If you don't have any of that, that's okay too. So what are your next steps? Well, I want you to think about what could be your next step after your self-care. Do you need to reach out for support from somebody in particular? Do you need to establish some new boundaries or recreate some old boundaries that you have let go? Do you need to forgive somebody in particular? Do you need to write a letter just to get it out of you and then maybe burn the letter? Again, journaling is helpful here. So make it an action step for yourself. What are you going to do next to move forward with your new way of thinking? Are you going to keep your ginger oil handy and use it to remind you of this process? So I want you to really take one action, write it down that you can do for yourself beside the self-care piece and stick to it, at least for 24 to 48 hours. And life happens, things can get in the way. So I even want you to consider how you could be proactive to plan for whatever gets in your way. So for example, I'm going to dance, and then I'm going to go for a walk and think about what just happened here. What could get in my way? Well, it could rain. I could get distracted before I get outside. I could get a phone call. I could, think of all these other things that need done. How can I proactively prevent myself from taking that action step? How can I go around that obstacle and keep my commitment to myself? Keep the commitment to yourself. I'm going to ask you again another question. What has been the most powerful learning for you in this process? What's your biggest takeaway? Jot that down on your paper, share it with somebody. Think about it when you're on your walk or taking your bath or journaling. And I'm going to invite you now to place your hand or your hands on your heart and silently thank yourself for showing up for this process and to do this work. And I applaud you for that. And I have much respect and admiration for you for doing this work. Healing is a journey. You can come back to this recording and watch it again. And as I walk you through it again, you can jot down the affirmations and read your affirmations. Smell your ginger whenever you need to. Now you know what to do. Use it as a tool to help yourself move forward into the future. You are divinely supported, and trust that power and the power within you to transform and heal. And I thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing this process with me. It is a privilege, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you want a private session, feel free to reach out to me, leave a comment here, find me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube, all the things. Share this with a friend, because we're all part of the healing of the world. And this is one little thing we can do together. Thank you, my friends. I'm Teresa Lysum. Bye-bye.